Today I'm doing an oatmeal cookie stout, but I'm not alone. I'm here with my friend Rob, and he and I, every October, we try and do what's called an adjective stout. And the adjective stout started in 2000, I think it was back in 2013. The old recipe I could find was 2014. Okay, we got the idea from Randy Mosher's Radical Brewing, and it was after a brew day one time, and we're like, what do we do next? And we just opened his book up and started flipping around, and we came across this spiced bourbon stout, page 169. And in this, it was take your favorite stout recipe and dose it with spices. 6 ounces of vodka and 2 ounces of bourbon, more if you wish, which I think we did. Add half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, quarter teaspoon of allspice, quarter teaspoon of cinnamon, quarter ounce of crushed coriander, 1 whole star anise, or 0.25 teaspoons of ground, 0.5 ounces of crushed juniper, a pinch of black pepper. So we're like, that is a lot of stuff before you get to the word stout. So the adjective stout was born. And then every year, we made some sort of version of that. We smoked the grains one year, I think. So
that was my favorite one.
That was a good one.
We smoked it, and it was cocoa. It was like a chocolate stout.
Yeah.
That we smoked.
Yeah.
And it was
good. I think we added cinnamon. I think we added a lot of the same stuff, bourbon too, and everything.
Everyone's had bourbon in it.
Yes.
Except for this most recent one.
2 years ago, I got a little bit, for me, a little too crowded.
Uh-huh.
So then I think 2 years ago, we went to simple. I think we just went like chocolate and vanilla, and I think that was it, and coffee or something like that. It was like a coffee smoked. No, it wasn't smoked. It was a coffee chocolate stout.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year it was a very similar thing. I think it was an imperial stout. But this year we wanted to do something different, but not as crowded, yet we wanted to have the adjective stout annual beer made. So the oatmeal stout, I thought of actually late last night. I was like, we should try this. And he was going to come over to brew already, and we're like, it's a perfect time to do it. And I've heard about people making oatmeal stouts before. Obviously, they're a common style, but I want to add more to it and make an oatmeal cookie stout. And for the cookie portion of it, cinnamon, vanilla, and raisins we're going to add to this. We're going to add cinnamon in the boil, and we're going to do, for a 1 gallon batch, we're going to do 1/8 of a teaspoon, probably a little under that, taste and add if needed. Then we're going to soak vanilla beans and raisins in vodka for about a week and add that to the secondary. And for raisins, I'm going to do 1/2 ounce, add if needed, and then vanilla bean, I'm going to do 1/3 of a vanilla bean in the vodka as well and dump that in as well and add more if needed. I may not do the raisins either. I'm going to taste it. We're adding Crystal 120 into this as a possible substitution for raisins because it can be pretty sweet and a sweet caramely sort of thing. So I'll see if that can substitute that. Mashing pretty high because I want this to be on the sweeter side. 156 Fahrenheit is our target for the mash. And then we're going to do a English ale yeast to give a little more of the body. Don't want this to be super dry. I like to finish a little higher actually. Starting gravity going for about 1058. For somewhere in the ballpark, that's okay. We are adding the grains at the end of the mash at Vorlauf, and that's to minimize the harshness of what the acrid flavors can bring, and we just want to turn this dark basically. So the way to make this oatmeal-y is you can add flaked oats to it, or you can add actual oatmeal. Flaked oats have been gelatinized already, at least the ones at the home brew store, which means basically their starches have been exposed. They're cooking at a certain temp. Or the steel cut oats that you can get at the grocery store sometimes are not. You might have to put them in the boil, or for people doing cereal mashes. I've tried one. It didn't work that well. That's one way to expose the starches in that. I thought about toasting these flaked oats. We didn't. It was definitely on my mind. But I think for this, we'll just try without the toasting the oats. But, another version of this wouldn't be a bad idea. So, I think that's it. I'll link the recipe below in the description, or I'll post it below in the description, and let's get this brew day started. So that obviously is not ideal. It's not right. I don't know what to do here. I think we're just going to leave it though, because it's not accurate. probably in the 5 range. I cut it a lot with distilled water, so we'll just leave it.
We bop and hippity hop. I'll never be a millionaire. Whoa, boom boom and hippity zoom. I'm in love.
So you learn lessons the hard way, and we forgot to put risoles into this. There's 15% of flaked oats in this, which is a lot.
And we have the stuck mash.
And I got a stuck mash. So we're putting it into here. I understand the hot side aeration is a thing people get concerned about. I still think it's a myth. We will find out, obviously. So we're splashing all of our mash into here. We're going to see if it's just a clogged line. We stirred it around, but nothing was happening. We added rice hulls just now. So when we put it back in, let it sit for another like 5 minutes, and hopefully that fixes it. We found the problem. It's not a stuck mash at all. Rob accidentally installed the false bottom stuff wrong. What do you call that stuff? The
false bottom
equipment
and rigging.
Yeah, rigging and the screen, the false bottom screen, and all that stuff. So we're fixing that now, and we'll rock and roll in here in a second. It's like 10:40.
Yeah,
10:40.
Exactly 10:40.
And there is a calculator out there when the water's a little warm. Gotta adjust for that temp difference. It's at 80 degrees Fahrenheit. On Beersmith, there's the equation for this, and it's saying that it's actually corrected at 10:42. Our target was 10:33, so we way overshot it. What we're gonna do is boil it down for an hour. We're doing a 90-minute boil, and about 30 minutes left in the boil, we'll take another gravity reading. I'll cool this down, and within like 15 to 10 minutes left in the boil, if we need to dilute it down a little bit, we will do that. But we'll wait and see where we're at then. We're at 10:54. We have about a half an hour left in the boil, a little under like 25 minutes. We're going to monitor it still. We think we're on track. We're going for 10:58. I think we'll be closer to 10:65. I don't care if we're over. Rob doesn't care if we're over. Not a big deal. Our boils are pretty much a simmer right now. So if anything, we're going to have a little more volume, and that's okay. All right, this is chilling down. It's about 100 degrees right now. We're going to throw some cinnamon in here. We have 1/8 of a teaspoon in this. We're going to do half of that, taste it, and add more if needed. All right, just tried it. It needs a little more, but we're not going to do the full amount. All right, so what we're going to do is leave it as is. That's almost 1/8, and we'll add more in secondary if needed. So it looks like we're floating at 1060. Per the adjustment, the sport's at 90 degrees. That puts us about 1064. That's fine. Wasn't too far off. When we hit 142, I thought we were going to be like 170.
Yeah, I thought we were going to need to dilute it.
So what we did is we put the boil to a simmer, and we just gently let it do its thing. But yeah, so we're cooling down now, and once we get to the temp, then I'll pitch these. So good brew day, good efficiency. The cinnamon level I think is going to be spot on. And like I said, I'll add a vanilla bean or a third of the vanilla bean and half an ounce of raisins. I'll soak in vodka for the next week. Taste it, add more if needed. I'll try and show that. If not, you'll see it in a tasting video. So Rob, thanks for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, had a blast. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Smash that like button really hard.
So hard you break your hand.
Just so hard.
Yeah.
And yeah, see you next time.
We bop and hippity hop. I'm as happy as I